Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Dirt Bags and Pinstripes, joined as always by David Swor. I am DJ Cox, and David, we got Jason Stiltner back with us tonight. It's going to be a great show. There is a ton of MLB stuff to get to. I'm very excited for this weekend, guys, because there's two things happening on Friday that I'm extremely excited about. Number one is playoff baseball starts, and number two, guys, the NHL is back. I know you're both excited about that.
DJ, can you hold on for a second? I think Aaron Judge is getting ready to come up to bat, and we're going to cut away for just a second.
Let's go live. He's coming in.
I feel like I'm watching ESPN college football, and they're breaking away to show Aaron Judge on Saturday. How unbelievable!
Yeah, man, it's been a heck of a chase, and what a great time that's been. And we will get into all that. Jason, man, I got to start with you, bud. Since you've been on last, there's been a lot that's happening in your life. Some unfortunate negative stuff that's happened to you, man, but a lot of stuff that's happened to you. And one of the great things that recently did happen to you is something that was long overdue, man. And I'm extremely excited that you finally had this happen to you in your life. It's been a long time coming. You were named to the Oliver Springs High School Hall of Fame, man. So absolutely outstanding for your baseball career. So go ahead and just talk a little bit about what that felt like for you to finally get in, and you were obviously one of the greatest athletes to go through that, if not the greatest, through that city. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, DJ, and it's thank you, David, for having me on tonight. Appreciate you guys. Truly great honor to be inducted into the Oliver Springs Sports Hall of Fame. Graduated in '97, two-time All-State athlete, signed Division I coming out of high school. Was actually actively recruited by University of Kentucky. Had a chance to possibly play there. Had a chance to possibly play at the University of Tennessee as well, as a recruited walk-on, not as a scholarship player. Let me be clear. But I did go to Liberty University. Nonetheless, it was a great honor. Finally, saw a lot of people go in before me, and no hard feelings, no bitterness, I promise. But it was finally good to get the recognition for baseball. I don't know that there was another baseball player that's been inducted into the OS Hall of Fame. So it was again very appreciative, very proud, very thankful.
So, man, talk a little bit about Coach Weiss, if you don't mind, for a minute. Just talk about the impact that he had on your team, throughout high school and in your life.
Yeah, for sure. My freshman and sophomore year, we had two different coaches each year. It was very tough. And so going into my junior year, once again, another coach. And so another system that you have to learn. But when Coach Weiss stepped in, and I still talk to, we call him Big Daddy Don. And Coach Weiss, still talk to him quite a bit. When I say old school, I mean old school. It was his way or the highway, and he played small ball, and I love small ball still to this day. I mean, you manufacture runs, your teams don't commit errors, you work hard. Actually, you outwork your opponent. That's how we won games, and I think my junior and senior year we won 45, 46, 48 games. Went to sub-state one year, state tournament my senior year, finished third. And Coach Weiss, so for your audience, you may not know this, 22 months ago, I actually amputated my left hand in a horrific accident, and then was surgically reattached. 2 surgeries, 12 hours, Christmas Eve to reattach. And, I look back, and it's been a tough journey. It's been a hard journey. But a lot of the lessons that I had learned from Coach Weiss stuck with me through the last 21, 22 months, and has helped me to regain up to 65% function. So I'm very thankful for the fact that he was hard on us, but he loved us, and we knew that, and we know that, and so I'm very thankful for the role and the impact that he's played in my life.
So talk a little bit about, I know as an individual, this is like an individual honor, but obviously I think I've kind of learned over the years, the more success that your team has in high school, the more that they look at the individuals who led to that success.
For sure.
So talk about that team that made it to state your senior year, and were you guys like expected to go that far, that kind of thing? How did that all work?
So we had a lot of seniors. I think we had 7 or 8 seniors that year. And so literally our whole starting lineup was either a senior or a junior. So I mean, I would not say we were projected to go to the state tournament, but we knew we were going to be good. Because we had again, we'd been to the regional championship, we've been sub-state, so we knew that it was possibly in the works. And I mean, we had just a bunch of blue collar guys, and none of us were like super studs. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but all of us, we worked hard. I mean, we worked hard, and we pushed each other, and we strove for excellence, and we didn't accept mediocrity. And when the chips were down, we rallied. And that was the mark of a. I'll put it to you like this: how many times have you ever seen people in the community come to a practice to watch you practice?
Wow.
Okay. This is no joke. This is the honest truth. At any given practice that we would have, you'd have 20 or 30 or 40 people just show up and watch us practice.
Wow.
I'm not fluffing. That is the honest truth. So that's how intense our practices were, and then we just carried over to the game. And we had a lot of success. So
That's awesome, man. As you start to dig into your statistics in high school and everything like that, I was reading a bunch of those throughout the week, and man, just absolutely outstanding and impressive. And for those of you who don't know out there, Jason ended up being a teammate with David and I at Tennessee Temple University. You fell into our laps, man. And me and David have said this 100 times. Like the talent that we had run through our university, man, if we could have just somehow had the right people at the right time, I
yeah,
think that's what we kind of missed out on. Is we had different, really, really good players, but they were in different groups, and we were never really like together to where we could have really done some damage. But man, yeah, you were an awesome pitcher in college for us, and a heavy, heavy ball, man, hard to hit. It felt like you were throwing a bowling ball to me when we were playing inter squad and stuff. That's how it felt like, man. So well deserved, man.
thank you.
Congratulations on that for sure, man. If there's anything else you wanted to add on that, go ahead, man. It's all you.
Just I look back, and I'm thankful for my teammates. I'm thankful for the opportunity to have played college with you guys, and I obviously wish I could have made it to the next level. But when you're 5 foot nothing and you only throw 90, it's just there wasn't much for that guy. But I'm just thankful for um, the hard work, the lessons, the life lessons, and all the people along the way that I've made friendships with. It's listen, having great personal achievements are great, and they're all well and good, but it's really the personal impact that you have with friends and family. That's what means the most. And so I'm thankful for all those people, for the Coach Weises, the Coach Templetons who believed in me, and so I'm very thankful.
Well, definitely, man. You're not only a Hall of Fame baseball player, but you're a Hall of Fame person for sure as well, man. That's for sure. That's not a joke. If you know Jason Stiltner and you don't like him, there's something wrong with you. So, congratulations, man. That's an outstanding accomplishment. That's the mecca, man, for high school. That's about as good as it gets right there. So, congratulations on that. And David, man, we have got a lot to get to here, buddy. We are going to start with the AL East, and we have to start with the Yankees, man. We just witnessed a lot of really cool things. So talk Yankees for a minute, bud.
Yeah, the Yankees have gotten it kind of turned back on somehow. I'm really not sure how. We've talked about this via text. The Yankees are a mess. Bullpen, I have no idea who's going to be closing or doing whatever, but they continue to win. I think this is the third season, if they win tonight or tomorrow, that Aaron Boone's teams have won 100 games. this has been one of the craziest rides I've had as a Yankee fan. They start out looking like they're going to be a historic team. Then they go through a stretch like 2 or 3 months where they're the worst team in baseball. And now they've kind of gotten it back together. So thankfully sewed up the division. I thought for sure that they were going to lose it to the Blue Jays there at one point. But they just continue to do it. Obviously it's been, and I know we're going to talk about this later, but it's been fun to watch. To be honest with you, Aaron Judge put the Yankees on his back, and that's exactly what he's done, and dragged them across the finish line. They've had some good seasons. Garrett Cole broke the Yankees strikeout record tonight, which is great. But to be honest, he's having not a very good season. So again, I'm happy that the Yankees have gotten where they've gotten, but I don't trust them at all in the playoffs. Just to be honest with you.
So, David, I want to go back to what you just said about Cole there for a minute. So, kind of explain just a little bit in depth, a little bit more there. I just saw he had pitched 191, I believe he's on, maybe a little bit more than that, innings, and 249 Ks. He broke Rod Guidry's record. But what do you mean by he's kind of been Like, what do you mean from that perspective?
He's leading the league in home runs given up. Can't avoid the long ball, yeah. And the Yankees, one of their other pitchers is second, which is Jameson Taillon. So, I think his ERA is about 3.60 or something like that out of your ace. I don't know what the deal is. Obviously, he's got swing and miss stuff. I watched him a minute ago strike somebody out on 3 pitches and then give up back-to-back doubles. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Still throwing hard, stuff still breaking good. He's just not having a good year. I mean, it's the best way I can say it. He hasn't really been a good pitcher since about July.
Wow, man. Yeah, that's tough when he's your ace going into the playoffs here. So what are your thoughts, David? Are you thinking that this is going to go well for the Yankees in the playoffs, or are you thinking that they're going to be ousted pretty early? You think they're going to the championship? You think World Series? What are you thinking? What are you kind of feeling?
I think the Yankees are probably an early out, but it's funny. Somebody posted on Twitter that the Yankees are playing chess when everybody else is playing checkers. See, by getting that number 1 spot, by letting the Astros have the number 1 spot, the Astros are going to have to face either Toronto or who's the other one? Neither team the Yankees want to play.
Seattle.
Seattle. And so anyway, I don't buy into that at all, obviously. But no, I think the Yankees are probably an early out. Their bullpen is literally a mess. They lost one of their better relievers today with a shin injury. He's a rookie reliever. So right now, Scott Frost is probably their closer, if I was guessing. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if Taillon's going to go in the bullpen. I'd originally thought that they would put Severino in there, but he has been absolutely lights out as a starter. Pitched 7 no-hit innings last night, just to look dominating. So obviously that probably wasn't the best move, but because of their pitching, I think they're an early out.
Man, that's tough, man. With the year that they've been having and the number 2 seed in the American League, about to hit 100 wins after this Ranger game tonight. And another thing I saw is Aaron Boone's been kicked out 9 times this season. I believe that's the most since 2007. So he's getting the heave ho an awful lot there in New York. But he barks a lot, man. If they miss that bottom of the zone a lot, he does not like that, and he barks a lot on that one for sure.
Well, when you got 2 guys that are 6'8", and they're getting rung up on low strikes, that's what happens.
Yeah, their strike zones are way different than normal people, and that's something that isn't taken into effect. You're exactly right about that. And guys, I wanted to get in this a little bit too. We were talking about Judge. We got to kind of stick on the Judge subject here with him hitting number 62 tonight and breaking Roger Maris's American League record, and also the Yankee record. So he's got 2 major records in the first inning, and then Cole broke the pitching record in the first inning. So pretty cool start to the game tonight. But you two have been kind of going back and forth a little bit on Ohtani and Judge here. So I kind of want to pick into this a little bit because this is going to be a good one. There's a lot of voters who have to figure this out. And this is tough, man. When you put somebody in like Ohtani who pitches and plays and bats, it just changes everything. It makes everything that much more difficult to figure out with the MVP race. So Jason, I'm going to start with you, bud. Give your case for Ohtani and why you're so high on him as the MVP this year.
Cool. So I, I wish the Angels were a little better, right? It would make the case a lot easier. If Joe Madden's your manager, and you're sitting number one in your division, the question is it even is there even another guy out there? I mean, who is Aaron Judge at this, But for me, the harsh reality is I think the MLB needs a storyline, right? NASCAR needs a storyline. Football needs a storyline. They always need something that gives the media something to talk about, right? And attendance is falling, viewership's falling, and the Judge Ohtani, it gives them something to talk about, right? It gives you as a average Joe who sits, you get to pick sides and you have a vested interest, right? For me, it's Ohtani. This dude is a once in a century player. I mean, he is putting up stats that hasn't been done in 148 years. Think about that. He's doing things that have never been done in the MLB. Now, listen, I may not be an Aaron Judge fan and hitting a juice ball 62 times over the fence. Whoop-dee, right? Just not a big fan. I mean, even David could probably hit a few home runs with juice balls. So, my boy Ohtani, let's just do it 2 times in a row. Do what?
I've got the answer to that argument. I was waiting on you on this one. You're about ready to get ambushed. Go ahead, finish up.
Come on, give it to me.
The juice ball thing. So I had to do a little bit of research on that, Jason. I always try to listen to both sides of an argument.
Yeah.
Just not true, man. 1961, I went back and looked over, and yep, sure enough, there's double the home runs now. There's also double the teams, which means double the games, which means the actual percentage of home runs per game is pretty similar. So,
no, what I mean, juice baseballs, and you can, I promise you can Google it and look. I think it was around 2014, 2015 when MLB purchased, was it Rawlings at the time? And all of a sudden there was a significant statistical jump in the number of home runs per year. I think it was like it was around a 40% jump or a 40% increase in home runs hit per year. So if, let's just say 1,000 home runs were hit last year, there was 1,400 hit this year. And then MLB came out and they just adamantly denied it at first. And then, we did change the fact that the seams were lowered on the ball, creating less of a drag, thus creating more home runs. Okay.
Well, they're down about 800 home runs from last year. I don't know if you saw that or not.
No, I did.
Again, you can go all around this argument because the pitching has to be better now. I think that's inarguable. There's more 100-mile-an-hour throwers than there's ever been. There's more specialists than there's ever been. You can't steal signs, Yeah. And so Aaron Judge, I think Mike Trout is in second place in home runs. He's about 20 home runs behind Aaron Judge.
Wow.
But let me just first of all say, I don't want to disparage Shohei Ohtani in any way, shape, or form. You'll never hear me argue how great he is, how great a season he's having. Here's my argument for Judge. I do think it means something that the team is winning.
Yeah,
as a Yankee fan who has watched literally every game practically all year long, I know what a lot of people who aren't Yankee watchers don't know, which is Aaron Judge had to switch positions in the middle of the year. He's been playing center field all year, formerly a right fielder. He's leading the league in runs, home runs, RBIs, walks, OPS, slugging percentage, and up until about a week ago, batting average. He's been in a slump. This home run thing has definitely gotten to him.
For sure.
And so as far as being more valuable to your team, I think it's inarguable that Aaron Judge has been more valuable. He has put the Yankees on his back and, like I said before, drug them across the finish line. But if Ohtani won, I mean, I can't really argue with that. But I think it makes a big difference that his team is winning. I mean, I just think another thing that's left out of this conversation, correct, Aaron Judge can't pitch. Ohtani doesn't play defense, but nobody talks about that. Judge has been playing out of position in a key position most of the year. How good of a fielder is Shohei Ohtani? I don't know. He DHs all the time. But anyway, I couldn't argue with Shohei Ohtani as the MVP.
For sure.
I'm definitely in the Judge camp.
And that's a good point about, Judge carrying the Yankees. I mean, I will give – listen, I can call an ace, a spade, I can call black, and white. And he has carried the Yankees from what I have seen and witnessed. And again, back to what I said almost originally, if the Angels were at the top of their division, it's a whole different story. But the harsh reality is the Angels wanted Joe Madden to play analytic baseball, and he didn't. And they canned him. And now the Angels stink. So they have two of the best players in baseball, and they're terrible. So, I mean, yeah.
But about the worst manager. I hate Phil Nevin. He was on the Yankees staff last year. I want to throw in one other thing here that I just have to throw in. Okay, DJ, this is for you specifically. What kills me about this MVP talk is that all these, steroids shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, blah, 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 blah. All those people suddenly don't want to recognize the fact that Aaron Judge did this with no steroids. All I hear is, well, he's like the ninth guy to hit over 60 home runs. Yeah, he's done it clean, and he's like the only one. So, for those of you that are in the steroids shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame camp, I don't even want to hear it.
And then in 5 years, it comes out he was juicing.
We might have a problem, okay? But I think the testing is as strenuous as it's ever been. And by the way, this isn't the first time Judge has flirted with 60. His rookie year, he hit 52 in like 128 games. So this isn't new. I had a guy also get on there. I couldn't help it. I took the bait, Stiltner. Somebody got on there and says, well, it's because of the park he plays in. The highest exit velocity in history. The highest exit velocity in history. Yeah, I don't think it's the ballpark. Anyway. I read a stat on him. His average home run is 109 miles per hour going out. Mookie Betts, which is a superstar, hasn't hit a ball that hard all season.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, wait a minute though. You're talking? Does Giancarlo Stanton not hit the ball harder than Judge though? I think Stanton just murders.
He has the highest exit velocity, like single hit. But as far as average home runs,
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Wow.
Judge is 109 miles per hour.
Okay.
And like
I got you. Sorry about that. I misread what you were saying there. So that's amazing, man. That's unreal.
It is.
David, so I got to ask you this. Back when I was entering Tennessee Temple University and Sammy Sosa and McGuire were doing what they're doing with this home run record. As a Cubs fan, obviously, seeing Sosa do that, man, that was just like it was unbelievable. And the whole season, like, and you guys went through it too, I'm not saying, but as a Cubs fan, I'm talking like it was just anything beyond anything I've ever seen in my entire life. So as a Yankee fan, seeing what Judge is doing, how does this compare in your world as far as what they did and what Judge is doing?
The McGuire Sosa season was way more fun. As big of a Judge fan as I am, to see those two guys go at it every night. It was Can't Mitch TV, right? I mean, for some reason back then we didn't mind the cutaway, so yeah, I mean, as far as comparing the seasons, I still think the McGuire Sosa season was probably more magical. It saved baseball. But as a Yankee fan, I mean, it's been a blast to watch. We've, obviously my whole family is Yankee fans. We've tried to watch every bat, and of course I missed the one he actually hit it. I missed it by literally like a minute. So we got back from a volleyball game, and it was literally like 8:07. I pulled up my ESPN app because I knew that game started at 8, and it was already 1-0. I said, man, he hit the home run and turned it over there, and he was crossing home plate. So. Anyway, But it's been a magical season, man. It's as a Yankee fan, it's been a frustrating season in a lot of ways. But Judge has earned his money. I mean, you got to respect a guy who turns down $200 million and said, "No, I'm better than that," and then goes right out and proves it. Pretty crazy.
Pretty crazy indeed, man. And that's an interesting perspective on what you're going through there with Judge and everything. And it's just amazing. It really is. It's been a lot of fun to watch. And baseball's, the ratings have gone really high at the end of the season here because of that. And a lot of different things are happening in baseball, not just Judge and stuff we'll get to later, but that are making this season pretty special, man, from a lot of things that are ended up happening this year, man. It's been a lot of fun. Like I just showed David and Jason, I got 8 games going on right now, and about 6 or 7 of them mean a lot as far as what's going to end up here with the postseason picture. So moving along a little bit here, David. So Toronto is 8 back. This division is over. We've got 2 wild card teams out of this division. We ended up with 3 teams making the playoffs. Baltimore is going to end the season, no doubt, with a winning record. And I think that's a major accomplishment for the Orioles. They have 82 wins at the moment, so they will have a winning record, which just blows my mind to think that they have a winning record in that division with 3 playoff teams. Is an outstanding season, man. It really is. And I know you guys have heard me say this 100 times, but I think at the trade deadline, they punted on the season. I don't get it. I'm still not really sure what they were doing there, but
it hasn't hurt them at all. They went on the big run after the trade.
Very debatable. One game back when they made that trade in the wild card. Now they're 4 backing out. I don't get it, man. You keep the guys and you go add to that team and you don't subtract. I think that's a better way of doing it personally, David. You can't argue that, man.
They're stocked up. I mean, they wouldn't have been any better than they already are.
Gunnar Henderson is a stud at shortstop. That we would not be able to see him right now if they had Trey. I get that, and he's going to be a lot of fun for Baltimore. What a stud we got to see here at the end with them coming in. And
Mancini has done almost nothing since about 3 games after that trade deadline. The trade deadline, nothing.
He's been rough for Houston, but he was not rough for Baltimore. And it just sometimes transitions tough on different guys. There's no doubt he's a stud and was doing really well there. And Jason, the Baltimore Orioles are still paying Chris Davis, buddy.
Are they really? Oh man, that's sad, man. Hey, listen, here's my jab at Aaron Judge. I hope he becomes the next Chris Davis.
Not gonna happen.
Get your $300 million contract and then start hitting $167.
So, David, I got to go. One more question on you with Judge. Are the Yankees going to re-sign him? Yes or no?
I'm going to say yes, but I think it's getting kind of debatable. The only thing that worries me, he is a West Coast guy. Obviously, I don't think the Angels have the money to sign him because they've spent it on 2 or 3 other guys. But, man, the Dodgers are always lurking. So that worries me a little bit. They definitely have the money to do it. But if I had to guess, I'm going to say yes.
Guys, Toronto, man, is looking so good, David. I know I've been saying this all year long, but Kevin Gausman at the top of that rotation, Zay Berrios, these guys are no joke. They're definitely playing out of their minds right now. They've got their offense is clicking. I really believe this, David. I'm calling it now since we're about to start the playoffs. It's going to be Toronto and the Dodgers in the World Series. That's really been my pick from the beginning. I'm sticking with it. Toronto is 91-69 on the season. Had a 7-3 week. Just absolutely killing it, man. And they're sitting against the Seattle Mariners in the playoffs right now as a 4 seed, and then we'll draw the Astros and then probably the Yankees. So it's definitely going to be a tough road, no doubt. And if they can get through that, that's going to be mighty impressive. But Toronto looks very good to me and very deep. Vladdy's he's had a walk-off against the Yankees the other day. David, that Toronto Yankees series last weekend was a blast to watch, man. And I really believe it could come down to those 2 teams in the American League Championship. And that's going to be a heck of a matchup. And if you're worried, that might be the team that's worrying. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they got Manoah and
I forgot about Manoah. Absolutely.
Osman at the top. If you just go position by position, I would probably give Toronto the edge due to a better bullpen with Romano in it. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. I guess I think the Yankees had the season lead on them, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, it's all who's hot right now. So I would give Toronto the edge as well.
And Tampa, man, Tampa's in there as well. 3-7 on the week. A little bit of a funk right now, but nonetheless, they're going to be facing Cleveland in the first round more than likely, and that's going to be another excellent matchup as well. It'll be a lot of fun to watch these teams. I do think Tampa's going to pass Cleveland in that first round there to end up going against each other. David, what do you think on that one?
Not so fast, my friend, as Lee Corso would say. Dude, I like Cleveland, man. All those young guys, they play defense and pitch. And you got Jose Ramirez there in the middle. I like Cleveland in that series.
You do, huh? That's an interesting one. You know what, man? Everybody has done nothing but kick Cleveland to the curb all season long, including us. And what they've done is nothing short of miraculous. And kick it off to Terry Francona. What a job he's done managing that ball club through a lot of different things they've gone through, and have somehow kicked the tires at the top of that division, and are just dominating it, man. And it's been a real fun run for Cleveland there, man. And they have taken it, and they are going to end up being the only team in the playoffs from the Central, David. And the White Sox currently sit at 80-80 and could easily fall off. Well, they're going to probably win tonight. They could end up at 500, 81-81 if they lose tomorrow, or just a little bit above 500. But finish 10.5 back right now, 4-6 on the week. And David, they blew in that 3-game series against Cleveland. They fell apart. They were talking a little bit of trash going into that series, and Cleveland just mopped them up, man. Those games were not even close. And then once that happened, the Sox were toast, man. So what happened in Chicago, man?
Easy, man. Too many injuries. Way too many injuries. Tim Anderson, Luis Robert. I can't think of the other guy that's in the outfield that was injured about all year. What is that guy's name? I'm just blanking on it. But anyway, one of their big hitters has been out pretty much the whole year. So, I can't think of their big pitcher that was out the first half of the year. Now he's back now. But anyway, they've just been ravaged by injuries this year. And of course, Tony La Russa didn't help him. Some of those crazy moves that he made. But I guess he won't be back next year. So we'll see, man. The White Sox are going to be interesting.
Yeah, so speaking of La Russa, he ended up managing till he was 77 years old, and bless his soul, man. If you can manage a major league team at the age of 77, you're doing something right. I personally, honest truth, want to go until I'm 77 with coaching and then be done. So for him to make that number that I've always wanted to go after is pretty awesome. He's just about to turn 78, and he's having some heart issues. So you know what, man, go live your life, and the rest that you have left, and try to do as much as you can with your family at this point of his career, man. So good on him, and he has nothing to be ashamed of. Obviously, he's a part of what happened there this year, no doubt. He has to take some ownership to that. But like you said, David, too many injuries, and this team just kind of fell apart. And it's been nonstop all year for them. Minnesota's out, ended up tanking. What a terrible end to their season. Detroit and Kansas City end the season with pretty bad records as well. Kansas City's got some prospects to look forward to in the future there that may turn their season around a little bit. And so we're kind of going in live time here, Jason. So I'm going to kick this little portion off to you now, as we just saw the Braves clinch the NL East with a big win here. Man, so talk about the comeback from being 10.5 down to the Mets and roaring through them in this past series with the Mets and taking over that division.
Yeah, for sure. So at the 50-game mark, the Braves were 23-27. And I think I read the stat that was the worst first 50 games for a team to turn around and win 100 on the year, right?
Wow.
Like you said, they were 10 games down to the Mets in June, and just took the Mets to the cleaners to clean. And tonight they clinched the division. I mean, what a tremendous turnaround without Freddie Freeman, right? I mean, yeah. And so last year they were without Acuna. This year they're without Albies. And I mean, and they're young. Man, their pitching is solid. Their hitting is solid. Their defense is solid. And I'm not going to say another World Series title or contender, but man, they're playing some good ball. I mean, they're a team who thinks they can win, and a team who thinks they can win are dangerous. So, they're fun to watch for sure. And here's you one. So Strider, the pitcher, you know where he's from? Knoxville, Tennessee.
Nice.
Watched him pitch in high school. One of the guys that I played high school baseball with, Adam Dyer, was the assistant coach at CAK, which is Christian Academy of Knoxville. And he was like, Jason, you've got to come watch this kid play. He is special. And so 2 or 3 times his senior year, I went and watched him pitch. I mean, kid was hitting 95, 96 miles an hour. And I mean, throwing up 16, 17, 18 Ks a night. I'm like, oh my gosh. And so now here he is, playing for the Braves at just a very high level. Any other year, and he's rookie of the year. And this year probably won't get the honors. I can't think of the other kid's name who's just incredible. But so the Braves are on a good run. Good run.
Yeah, David, is Strider going to come back at some point? I believe I haven't heard an update on him. I think this is key for the Braves.
It is key for the Braves. I agree with you. He's one of their better pitchers, if not their best pitcher down the stretch. I was actually Googling trying to look that up. Give me a second on that.
Yeah, no problem. I'll come back to you on that for sure. Jason, I got a couple questions on the Braves for you for sure. So
yeah,
Dansby Swanson, man, he's about to, he's really close to getting 100 RBI for a shortstop this year. He dominated, man. And the Braves have come up with a strategy of locking down a lot of players, which is really cool that this core is going to go forward together. I love that philosophy, especially offensively. So do you keep Dansby, or do you let a guy like Grissom take over and run with him?
Hey, listen, I say if you can keep Dansby, you keep him. And you're right. The Braves have locked down, I think 5 or 6 of their starters to like 2028.
Yeah.
So, I mean, dude, that's solid. But back to Dansby, listen, that guy is good. You keep him. Your infield, to me, your infield revolves around your shortstop. Just like your outfield, to me, again, it revolves around your center fielder. And so you keep the guy. He's good, solid player. I'm not saying he's A-Rod, but geez, I mean, A-Rods are there in the world, right?
Yeah, that's very true, man.
He may not be Sean Dunston, but
the Sean Dunston, baby, I love it.
for sure, man. I am a Cubs fan. Braves, Cubs, and you're gonna hang me for this one. But I was an Ozzie Smith fan back in the day, so there you go. The Cards.
I'm a pretty big closet Cards fan right now, by the way. I'm just gonna throw that out there for DJ. I went to that game, man. They sold me on it. They got I don't know if you knew this, Stiltner, but half their team is Christians, and so they have Christian walk-up music and stuff, and they play great defense and pitch. I mean, I love it.
There you go. So,
hey, you got to throw that argument on me. Make me look bad, don't you? So, David, did you find anything about Strider out? I don't know if you did or not.
TBD. It sounds like it's definitely a possibility he would be out of the bullpen if he did come back. So it's he had a bullpen today. It was basically like, we'll see how he feels tomorrow. So don't know yet.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a big piece, man. Go ahead, Jason.
I was going to say, I have a gut feeling. It could be indigestion, but I have a gut feeling. Strider will be back. Strider will be back for the playoffs. Wait, watch and see. So I think they erred on the side of caution.
I think they are too. It makes sense to have them ready for the playoffs. You're going to make the playoffs regardless whether you won the division or not. So that's totally true. Right. You got to give him the rest he needs. So, David, I'm telling you, man, these Mets are falling apart, and I'm calling it right now. By the time we do our show next Tuesday night with Jeff Buznitz, the Mets are out. I'm calling it right now. They're
Who are
done.
they lining up to play?
Digging them. I'm digging the grave on the Mets, buddy. So since they just fell to the Braves in the division, they will play the Padres in the first round, and then go
Tough
against
draw.
the Dodgers. Against the Dodgers if they win, so they are in trouble.
That's
No
a
doubt.
tough draw.
I tell you what, I'm telling you this, Jason. The Braves, by winning that division, they got out of the way of the Dodgers. They got out of the way of the Padres. They moved over with the Phillies and Cardinals. Say what you want about those teams. Those teams are awesome. Don't get me wrong. But I, any day of the week, would rather face those two teams over the Dodgers, Mets, and Padres. So the Braves dodged a huge bullet by winning this Mets series, man.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. I definitely don't want to play the Dodgers. Definitely not. No. So yeah, looking forward to the postseason. So I'm not a betting man, but if I were, be hard pressed to bet against the Braves. So
No doubt about it, man. So I'm telling you now, the one good thing from the Mets perspective, David, is they don't have anything to play for tomorrow. They thought that if they had to play for the division tomorrow, DeGrom would go. Now they set DeGrom up for Game 1 against the Padres, who, no joke, Yu Darvish and these guys have been, led by Yu Darvish this year. Those guys are pitching well. Musgrove's been outstanding as well. Snell's been okay. They've got a good rotation themselves. They look a whole lot better if Tatis wouldn't have been a knucklehead, but this team is still can do some damage, no doubt. So that's going to be a nice matchup with the Mets and Padres there for sure in the first round wild card games, which are now 3-game series, which makes the division winner sit a little bit. So we'll kind of see how that all works out from that perspective as well. Also, David, in the NL East, the Philadelphia Phillies have made the playoffs. Once the Mariners made the playoffs, the Phillies became the team with the longest drought. That lasted about 2 minutes as the Phillies clinched last night. And they're a dangerous team as well, man. This team is 87 and 73. Kyle Schwarber has 46 bombs on the season from the left side of the plate. He's killing it. Aaron Nola, nearly perfect yesterday. Blake Wheeler on the top. Ranger Suarez has been nasty. These guys are no joke themselves, man, and they're going to bring a lot to the table. What do you think of the Phillies, David?
Yeah, I mean, great job by them. Rob Thompson took over for Girardi and got the ship righted. So congratulations to them. But in my opinion, they're probably the worst playoff team in that side. So I'm going to expect them to be out early. But, great season for them.
No doubt, man. And kind of rounded up the division, the Miami Marlins. A lot of young pitching, even more coming up now. We saw some guys. If these guys can move forward here with some offense, this team's going to be dangerous with all that pitching. But one of the big news that came out for Miami this week is Don Mattingly will not return as manager, David. So is he going to the Yankees?
I can only pray and hope. No, I guess I shouldn't bash on Boone too bad. 300 win seasons. I mean, that's pretty good. But I love me some Donnie baseball, man. I'd love to see him back in pinstripes somehow.
It'd be interesting to see where he goes. I don't know if he's done managing or if he's just kind of stepping away to, let the rebuild happen with someone else and kind of look for a team that's more ready to take over, and run with it. We see teams starting to switch overnight, man. And one of the things that's been happening is, like, you take a look here as we go to the AL West. One of the teams I want to talk about real quick is the Oakland A's, who 2 years ago were a playoff team, David. And this year they lost 102 games and counting. If they drop one tonight and tomorrow, it could be 104. So a team that goes from being a playoff team can turn in 2 years into a 104 loss team. So, you can go up and down in this game so fast with the moves that you make. So that's what's keeping me going about the Cubs right now, is that we can turn it around that fast. Just like the A's are turning it for the bad, we can turn it for the better. So that's what I got to go on, David.
DJ, I saw the first free agent predictions today.
You did.
You want to guess which shortstop they had the Cubs getting?
I'm gonna go with Trey Turner.
It was really interesting. They had Xander Bogaerts to the Cubs, Trey Turner to the Braves, and Dan Swanson. Who did he go to? The Orioles, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was the Orioles, because I guess Gunnar Henderson would be at third. I don't know. But anyway, I thought that was interesting. and I figured you would hate it.
Hey, I don't hate Xander. There's no doubt. I just don't know how many years he's got left in that prime and how much of a contract you'd give him. I'd throw 8 years at Trey Turner any second here. So it'll be interesting to see nonetheless, man. But the AL West, it's a fun division. The Astros are the number 1 seed. They've got Verlander going. They've got, that pitching staff is nasty. Framber, Lance McCullers is back healthy now. These guys are very deep, man. They've got an offense. And, man, David, one of the guys that flies under the radar for the Astros, Kyle Tucker. Are you kidding me on that guy? What a stud. Over 100 RBI. When you start talking through like these guys, you go, Yonder, Altuve, you start talking about those guys, Bregman, and then you'll eventually maybe get to Tucker. But, man, he's been just about as good as anybody offensively for the Astros this year. And just doesn't get much love. So talk about Kyle Tucker for a second.
I'm gonna tell you another guy that I wanted to mention is Jeremy Pena, their shortstop.
Yeah,
that everybody thought that they were dead when Correa left, and Pena actually outperformed him. And this year, fielding was always Correa's big thing. Well, Pena has been better in the field as well. So shout out to him. But yeah, Kyle Tucker, same thing. We play fantasy baseball. Last year, I saw him up in the outfield rankings, and I thought, man, who is this guy? Like, why would they rank him so high? And you realize he's an all-around stud, man. Like you said, just flies under the radar.
He does, man, and it's been a lot of fun to watch him play this year, no doubt. He just totally racking up the statistics this year. The Astros are they're no joke, man. This is what excites me so much about these baseball playoffs is you got so many dangerous teams coming in there. With the expanded 12-man postseason now, it's going to be fun to watch that for sure as well because we haven't seen anything like this. So it's going to be a whole lot of fun watching that wild card round come out as well. So, guys, the 2001 Mariners were the team that won 116 games, tied the record of a team in the early 1900s that won 116 as well, the Cubs. So, guys, that team was something else. That was Ichiro's rookie year. These guys were killing it with King Felix on the mound. 116 games. And ever since that season, though, there's been a long drought in Seattle. And that drought is finally over as the Mariners are back in the playoffs. And right now, if the playoffs ended, they're going to draw the Blue Jays as the away team. What a season for them, David. They've had their 2 young prospects, Rodriguez and Kelnick, come up, and Kelnick's starting to do some damage a little bit to himself. This team's got horses of Robbie Ray and Castillo. They're dangerous, man. They got some good pitching, and they can do some damage. And a team that kind of flies under the radar that isn't expected to do much is dangerous at times. So we were talking about the Mariners.
Yeah, so I would have loved the Mariners a lot more if Julio Rodriguez hasn't been fighting injuries.
Yep,
that's going to hurt. But yeah, I mean, it's good to see them back. DJ, I still really want me a pair of Nike Griffies. That's still, I don't know why, but I don't know why I even threw that in there, but I just really want me a pair. That's my connection to the Mariners. Otherwise, they play too late at night, and so I don't get to watch them that much.
Yes, sir, they do, man. Like you look on these games right now on the West Coast, and it's 9:00 here and 10:00 where you guys are. The Padres and the Giants are in the second inning, so that's why we don't see very much baseball out there in the West Coast. These dudes are playing until we're long asleep, man. So good on the Mariners. What an awesome team. It's gonna be a lot of fun to watch them playing as well. Jason, I know we talked about the Angels. I want to get your perspective on this just a little bit. I know you talked about them a little bit before, but kind of harp on the Angels a little bit. 73-87, Jason. After starting the season in first place, they're 31 games back. I don't know. That was one of the biggest blow-ups I've ever seen. You lose your manager. You got 2 of the best players in the world. What happened to the Angels, Jason?
Like you said, I mean, you have Joe Madden, which obviously is one of the best managers in the major leagues. Now I obviously don't know the inside story, but from what I've read and understand, they're wanting him to play analytics baseball, and I get that computers and AI can give you a lot of information. Okay, I trust me, I understand that. However, when you have a manager with a proven track record of winning a lot of games, winning World Series, and you as an organization don't have a track record of either, well, I don't know why you're pushing that so heavy handed. And Joe he's just okay, whatever. I'm not doing it. You can fire me, and they did. And so you take a team that was literally sitting at the top of their division. They were ahead of the Astros, and then you see a monumental implosion. And listen, you can't lead from the rear, you lead from the front. And if you cut the head off the snake dies. And that's what the Angels did. They cut the head off the snake when they let Madden go. And it doesn't matter how good that roster is, just does not matter. Obviously, it doesn't. You have Ohtani and Trout, and look at them. They're fourth in their division. They're a dumpster fire. I mean,
He won 70 games.
Yeah. So, but now flip side of that, you keep Madden as your manager, and you have what, 100-win season, 110-win season. I don't know. But I don't know. I don't fully understand where you draw the line between letting a computer or AI figure out what to do and how to do it versus the human touch, the human element saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. I make the call. I make the decisions. So, you could play. What was the guy for the A's, the manager that would he would get like everybody's yesteryear guy and roll the dice on them. Billy Bean, was that it?
Yep.
Yeah. Beanball. And, that guy was a mad hatter, right? Somehow would roll the dice. He had some type of system, and the A's were good, right? They had like one of the lowest payrolls in baseball, and they would win every year. And now he's gone, and the A's are a dumpster fire. So I don't know, but so there you go. That's my take on the Angels. So
yeah, David, and I know here's the thing, and so I've seen Madden has come on some local shows here in Chicago and has talked about what happened to the Angels. So we saw the season start with a huge first place run there, and there was more and more pressure on Madden as the season started moving along with all this analytics stuff. They did go through a huge losing streak with Madden on there. I get it, okay, and he's partially to blame for that. However, what Jason is saying, with these guys pushing so hard at him, instead of letting him just manage the game like he wanted to manage, now he's got all these nerds in his ears. That's what they are, these stat nerds, okay, that are just telling him what to do. And you change everything about what a manager can do. If somebody's telling me different things as a manager that I have to, basically what I have to do, or I'm going to lose my job. Who wants to be that coach? Who wants to manage a team where you're controlled with your moves? Isn't that your job, to control what happens out on the field? You're the manager. You're not supposed to be listening to these stat guys who are making these moves for you. Horrible. I hate that with a passion. Like you said, I'm a big analytics guy to a point. Okay, I understand this stuff helps a lot. Okay, it really does, but to a point. Okay, there's a lot of gut in baseball. There's a lot of coaching that has to go in that is not involved with analytics, and that's what separates the good boys from the bad boys. And Madden was good. They gave him a boot. Everything's fallen down, rightfully so, for the Angels. It's crashed. To be honest, David, the ownership, the GM, the whole thing needs to go away. The owners need to just sell the team. They're terrible. They're spending money, but they're just not. It's not working. So something's got to switch here, and the Angels are actually talking about the ownership selling. So we'll see what happens with them moving forward. But a crazy season for the Angels with so much was expected out of them. To the NL West, the Dodgers have 110 wins, a new franchise record. These guys are unbelievable. The only question mark I think we have moving forward is who's their closer. They may go with committee, with the gut feeling, with Trinan. Kimbrel did lose a job, it's gonna be interesting to see what Roberts does at the end of the games here with the closers. That's about the only thing the Dodgers need to figure out. Their offense is unbelievable. This is the team to beat, no doubt. They're the team to beat. Nobody can say that they're not, because these guys are just killing it and had an outstanding season. When you're 110-50, that just blows my mind that you can do that in the major leagues. It's an outstanding record. Padres make the playoffs, 88-72. 88-72, guys. Let me just give you a perspective on 88-72. They would have been just 2 back of the Cleveland Guardians for the division, and they end up 22 back of the Dodgers because the Dodgers are that good. So
Wow.
it's unreal, man. And the Giants, they are who we thought they were. Finished the season about 500 mark. Diamondbacks in Colorado round out the bottom there and the NL West. So two teams make it there. So, guys, the NL Central, and we're done for the night. We'll close with this. I'm going to start with a couple teams, and we'll end with the Cardinals because that's kind of the team to talk about here. Pirates had a rough year, and the Reds had a rough year, no doubt. These teams are 1 loss away, either tonight or tomorrow. Looks like the Pirates are about to lose their 100th game, and the Reds just beat the Cubs. But if they lose tomorrow, they will also lose 100. And I'll tell you, there's a big difference between 99 and 100. You do not want that 100 loss. So those fan bases don't want to see that triple-digit number in the loss column. They're definitely rooting against that. So I don't want to see that really either for either of those teams. That's a horrible thing and a horrible number to hit. Hopefully only the Nationals and the A's hit that this year. But we'll see what happens to those 2 teams. The Brewers ended up getting kicked off at the end here. They got finished off 85-75. I guess they're the best team not to make the playoffs. But a tough season for the Brewers to not make the playoffs this year after everything they've been through. And just being honest, man, trade deadline, they were not the same team after they traded Hader and it did some different things. Chemistry matters, and I think the chemistry fell apart a little for the Brewers, and it fell apart. What are your thoughts on that, David?
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess Hader has found it for the Padres finally. So now that trade isn't looking quite so good. But yeah, you're exactly right, man. I think the Yankees saw that when they traded Montgomery, that again, chemistry does matter. Man, what a gut shot to those Brewers fans.
No doubt about it, man. So the Cubs, I got a couple points on the Cubs that I wanted to make here real quick. Number 1, I went to the Hall of Fame wall the other day. I think I posted this, guys. You saw this. And if you guys have an honest opinion on this, I want to know because I have no clue why. But I'm looking through, and all of a sudden it hits me. I'm like, where's Mark Grace on the Cubs Hall of Fame wall? What do either of you have any like perspective on this? What am I missing? He's the 5th most hits in franchise histories with him over a decade, over 1,000 ribbies, batted 300, multiple Gold Gloves. This guy was the all-time hits leader in the 90s, all-time doubles leader in the 90s. He's second all-time in doubles in franchise history. I mean, when you think of the Cubs, he comes to you fast. I don't get it. What's going on here?
That would be like Ryan Sandberg not being. I mean, to be honest, when you told me Mark Grace wasn't in the Cubs Hall of Fame, I was like, and I meant to respond with, that would be like Ryan Sandberg not being. That's unfathomable, to be honest. Like, I would love to know and I'm not even, it was like me not being in the Oliver Springs Sports Hall of Fame for, I don't know, it's been around for 10 years. And the first Division I athlete, the first 2-time All-State baseball player. And it took that long to get in. And then I heard Mark Grant, like, what? That dude was the icon. Him and Ryan Sandberg and Sean Dunston and Andre Dawson and Greg Maddux. And those guys were incredible, right? I don't know. I scratched my head on that one.
David, you got something smart to say. Go for it.
DJ, I just couldn't get past. I mean, yes, Mark Grace should be in the Cubs Hall of Fame, but
yes,
an even bigger bummer to me is that Sammy Sosa isn't in, and that you understand why. I mean, I couldn't even I forgot about Mark Grace. That whole conversation, like the guy who saved baseball can't even be in the Cubs Hall of Fame. I mean, let alone the real Hall of Fame, but not even the Cubs Hall of Fame. Your most famous player can't be in the Hall of Fame. Wow. I just don't even know what to say about that. The Cubs fans are a rough crowd, I guess. I mean, as bad as I hate A-Rod, like if he was in the Yankees Hall of Fame, it wouldn't really bother me that bad, or some of the other steroid users of the past, Jason Giambi, whoever. But Sammy Sosa, I mean, gosh, the dude hit 500 homers. I mean, what do you got to do?
Yeah, he absolutely 609 career home runs.
That's what I'm saying.
He's not even in the Cubs
Hall of Fame.
No, I know, man.
What is this?
Okay, so we know the banishment of Sammy's he hasn't showed up since he left his last game. He hasn't been to regular.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. I don't know anything about the backstory here, but that is the dumbest thing I have ever heard of. I mean, you can't talk about the Cubs in the 90s and early 2000s without talking about Sammy Sosa. Yeah. What is the backstory? What are they mad at?
There's just the whole corked bat, steroids, all that stuff. They just don't want anything to do with that guy anymore. He just leaves a black eye to the franchise. And you know what? Somebody said this, and I don't know if this is true or not, but Grace had a big problem with alcohol, in his playing days and past his playing days. And I don't know if we're the morality police again as far as the Hall of Fame goes. But David, what else is it? If it's not something personal that Grace did, it can't be statistical. It has to be something he did. And I'm not joking.
Maybe he was doing roids too. Maybe he was doing roids too. I was going to say they were keeping Sammy out for race reasons, but he's white now, so that's definitely not true.
I was going to say it, but I couldn't bring myself to it. David, you're next level. You're next level. Holy
that's up there, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
Oh my gosh.
I got you. That's amazing. That's amazing.
If I ever run for president, you have to take this down.
Oh,
that is awesome. That is so cool. But yeah, I don't really know. And thanks for Hayden Wisniewski is the other thing I was going to say about the Cubs. He looks really good, David. I went and saw him pitch the other day against the Phillies. He's a real deal, man. He's nasty. That slider moves a ton. It's filthy. And I'm telling you guys, I was thinking about it the other day. I'm looking at the pitching staff, and there's a lot of, trust me, like I can't figure it out right now. I'm going to sit down after the season, try to piece together what they could possibly do here because they've got a lot of holes. Don't get me wrong. But when you start with like Justin Steele, Wisniewski, Keegan Thompson, Javier Assad's been looking good. The young pitching's been promising, and Stroman signed to a long-term deal. So who makes that 5-man rotation? You're going to be really good because their pitching's been pretty solid this year, and they've been playing awesome baseball in the second half. Their record's outstanding. They won 7 in a row leading up to tonight. They finally lost. These guys have been playing really well, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I'm going to get more perspective around this, but Wisniewski is a great pickup for the Cubs, and I'm glad we got him. For your new closer, though, at Frost, if he's your closer, that's going to be big for this postseason. So it would soften that blow a little bit if Frost can get some saves in the playoffs for you. That'd make it feel a little bit better about giving up on one of the top young pitching prospects in the game for sure. But yeah. So David, the last thing we're going to close tonight is the Cardinals, and man, I got to be honest with you, man. The more that I don't know how to really wrap my head around Pujols, like what he's done. This Cardinal team is dangerous. And Jason, we were talking about how you avoided the Padres, you avoided the Mets and the Dodgers. And like David said, the Phillies are done. The Cardinals are going to mop through them. And then they're going to face the Braves. And you got your hands full with the Cardinals, Jason, for sure. This team's loaded. Arenado, Goldschmidt. They lead a really good team there. And they've got something special with Wainwright, Yachty, and Pujols there last season. Everybody rallies around that kind of stuff. And that's scary, man. When you've got a team rallying around that, wanting those three to go out on top, that's a scary thing with these, 3 possible Hall of Famers, as they're saying, going out this year. So, man, the Cardinals, guys, I'll shut my mouth and let you two talk after this. But Pujols, 703 homers, just passed Babe Ruth for second all time in RBI. I can't wrap my head around what his career has been. It's been unbelievable. Great Christian guy as well, Pujols. But man, I want you to kind of talk about what Pujols has done for you guys this year. I'll go around and we'll close. But the one thing I wanted to say kind of is, I mean, is he the greatest player of all time? It's debatable now. I mean, he's got to be in the conversation. Is he the best ever? I don't know. I mean, you could make that argument. He's a 296 career hitter with 703 homers and the second most RBI all time. That's saying something. I don't know. He's definitely up there, but I'll kick it to you first, Jason, on your thoughts on Pujols.
Good dude, solid. You know, and so here's something about me that y'all probably don't know. I am a capitalist, right? I believe in capitalism. However, the proverbial but, I'm not a big fan of $300 million a year contracts. I'm not a big fan of $220 million payrolls. I'm not a fan of moving teams just to make money, like Freddie Freeman, like Albert Pujols. And he was loved by the Cardinals, and he went to the Angels. And it's good to see that he's back. It's been a great storyline for baseball, what he's done this year, hitting 700 home runs. No hate. A lot of respect for the man, what he's done for the game. And him going out this year, Molina, dude, they're tough. And a team that wants to rally around their veterans and send them out on top, whoever, I wouldn't be surprised if they're going title town. And it would be a great way to end the career for Pujols and Molina, and so it's going to be a fun postseason. And again, Pujols, like you said, arguably one of the best players to ever play the game. I mean, stats don't lie. So, well done,
David.
Cardinals are extremely dangerous, and not just for Pujols reasons, but they got the best fielding third baseman in maybe ever. They've got a triple crown first baseman. They've got a catcher long in the tooth who DJ loves, but he knows how to win. They play great defense. They have a great bullpen. Their rotation, while not stand out, it's solid. So Cardinals are very dangerous. To answer your question, DJ, Pujols is not the best player ever. He's probably in the top 3 or 4. But Babe Ruth and Hank Aaron, that's your number 1 and 2. But Pujols has been amazing to watch. I was hating on him pretty hard for the last year. I don't know how he's found it, to be honest. It's kind of weird. How do you go from being one of the worst players in baseball last year? Literally, statistically, he was one of the worst players in baseball. Can't run, you can't field. But somehow or another, he's figured out how to hit a baseball again. So, like I said, I've been kind of keeping up with the Cardinals. Been very fun to watch, and the Cardinals are super dangerous. That they are the one team that I think could take the Dodgers out.
I agree with that 100%. I really do. I think the Braves, Cardinals, and Dodgers are very dangerous. The other 3 are going to need a lot of help. But, man, is this going to be fun, guys. Speaking of fun, this was a lot of fun tonight. Jason, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. It's always fun to talk baseball with you, man. We talk almost on a daily basis, which is a blast, and getting perspectives moving forward into the playoffs. It's going to be a lot of fun for all our fans out there to this show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd really appreciate it. And guys, good luck to your teams in the playoffs. Can't say mine will be there, so good luck to you two. And
Sure.
We'll go back to the drawing board for next season, where hopefully in April we're excited about Cubs baseball next year, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. So, Jason, once again, congratulations on the Hall of Fame. David, it's been a lot of fun. Next week we will have Jeff Buznitz on here. That's going to be a whole lot of fun as well. So, I appreciate you guys both joining us, and have a good night.
Hey, you too. Thanks. See you guys.